Hello and thank you for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, Governor Matawale calls for states of emergency in the north over rising insecurity. Bandits abduct widow in Katsina State 24 hours after husband's death, as angry Plateau youths dropped corpses at government house after killings. And later on the show, Nigeria Air Force set to induct 6 A-29 Super Tucano aircraft on August the 31st. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. As the security crisis in northern Nigeria worsens, suggestions are flying about on how best to tackle it. Zamfara State Governor Bello Aminu Matawale has called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on insecurity in northern part of the country. Governor Matawale says the recent attack on the headquarters of the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Kaduna, is another setback for the quest for peace in the country. Babajide, a state of emergency, as recommended in some states in the north, as recommended by Bello Mohammed Matawale. I don't know.
The kind of state of emergency that he envisages is not known to our law. It's not known to our laws. People still think that the state of emergency, the kind of state of emergency that Obasanjo came up with, can be replicated in today's Nigeria. Nobody will impose that kind of state of emergency because Obasanjo, at the height of impunity, imposed state of emergencies based on a law that no longer exists. Whereby once the state of emergency is in place, all elective positions are deemed to be suspended. The governor goes on suspension, and then the president will be the sole administrator. It is not known to Nigerian law.
Like what happened in Ekiti?
It was challenged.
Like 2 states.
It was challenged. And once it was challenged, nobody can come up with that kind of state of emergency anymore. Goodluck Jonathan could not do that. Even at the apogee of the Boko Haram insurgency, he could not come up with that because he knew that it had been challenged and that it was illegal. What Obasanjo did at that time was illegal. Now, the state of emergency that you can do at this time, the best you can get is, okay, 90 days. Arrest without trial for 90 days. You are not bound to to take those people that you have arrested to court. That, you can do that. Just 90 days. But all the elective positions, all the organs of government, the House of Assembly, the governor, everyone will keep his place. When Goodluck Jonathan imposed state of emergency in the 3 frontline states, harassed by Boko Haram insurgency, he did not send anyone on suspension. The governors kept their positions. Even when Kashim Shettima, appeared to insult the president, he still kept his position. He didn't do anything to him. So when people talk about this state of emergency, I've had to answer this question many times. Why are we not imposing it? Nobody, President Buhari cannot impose it. Not because he doesn't want to solve the problem, but he knows that time has gone. It was an antiquated law, that Obasanjo used. So because Obasanjo got away with impunity at that time, does not mean that a President Buhari will come and do it. Goodluck Jonathan couldn't do it. Even the state of emergency, the limited state of emergency that he imposed, at a point the National Assembly said no, that they were no longer interested, because you must also get the support of the National Assembly. The National Assembly does not support it, you can't do it. So that is the kind of state of emergency that can ensure that this problem is minimized. That is the sort of state of emergency that Matawale wants. But Matawale should call his lawyers. Let the lawyers brief him properly and show the Constitution to him that, see, this is what the Constitution says. That's kind of state of emergency. Nobody will oppose it now. And the last
Supreme Court ruling.
Yes, let them say what the position of the law is even there in our Constitution. So it's just a matter of looking at what the law says. Let's not be gripped by negative nostalgia because Obasanjo did it back then. It was illegal. It was, in fact, Obasanjo committed an impeachable offense by imposing a state of emergency in the way he did, and no one would do it after him because they now know.
In both Plateau and Ekiti states.
Yes, because they now know that, look, it was illegal.
Now, looking at what could compel Matawale to have made this statement, this should be born out of frustration. He has seen a state that is almost ungovernable again. As in what is grappling with.
Just like his predecessor.
Yes. Like, he is the chief security officer of Zamfara State, but he's the one that established it and told us that he's grappling with, battling with over 30,000 bandits in Zamfara alone. Just imagine, I don't know, maybe the number of policemen in Zamfara alone is up to 30,000.
All the armed forces, they are now up to that.
Well, the interesting thing is that Section 305C and D of the Constitution says that the president can take extraordinary measures, to contain certain challenges like that. You saw what happened in respect of COVID-19, But the thing is, it doesn't outline what are these extraordinary measures. Will you remove elected officers? Will you do this? Will you do that? Now, Matawale is talking about state of emergency. We need to now put it side by side with what President Muhammad Buhari said about, the culpability of governors, putting the responsibility on governors, to secure their state. So that means in between, something is not being told to Nigerians. In between, there are certain things that are being hidden from Nigerians. The first question I want to ask is, are the armed forces, the police, the civil defense, all security agencies, have they told us emphatically that they cannot handle Nigeria's security challenges? We need to be clear with that, because the Chief of Defense Staff, the other day when he went to Nigerian Defense Academy, he said, we'll put an end to all this. So that didn't, I don't believe that was a grandstanding. So if there's an issue of capacity, or maybe problem with weaponry, or maybe problem with tactics, I believe the security chiefs, there was outcry, and security chiefs were removed, service chiefs were removed. We have a new set of service chiefs, and we still have the problem. In fact, it's even getting worse. So what exactly is the problem? In calling for a state of emergency, I hope the governor knows that if we are to go that route he's recommending, he won't be there to superintend over what happens in the state of emergency. If we apply the Goodluck Jonathan template, he will be there, but what role exactly will he play? And then what exactly will that state of emergency achieve? Because where you had the recurring crisis in Plateau, and then government said it had moved more soldiers and policemen to Plateau State, yet you have the same problem. Throw back to when Obasanjo declared state of emergency in Plateau. Did he solve the problem? He didn't solve the problem. So it all boils down to the fact that, you see, we have to be told what are the impediments to ending these security challenges. Certain things are not being told to Nigerians, and that is why these things continue. You hear different things from different people. People are saying, okay, you declared a state of emergency, you declared a curfew in Plateau State, for instance. But people were still able to carry out, were still able to move around and kill people and destroy property. So what happens during that curfew? Is it that certain areas are given preference and certain areas are left open to attack? So you see, the truth needs to be told to Nigerians. What exactly are the impediments? What exactly are we calling insecurity? What is the real issue?
The commandant of the Nigerian Defense Academy is saying that it's time to re-engineer the security architecture of NDA. And when you look at the outcry that has greeted the attack on this Nigerian Defense Academy and the whereabouts of the major that was abducted is still unknown. And a lot of Nigerians, especially retired service chiefs, they've been talking and reacting and saying that, look, something must give today.
And something must give, but we have to follow our laws. I'm reading section 305
C&D
of the 1999 Constitution.
Yes,
There is nowhere that the president is permitted to suspend democratic structures. Nowhere.
Nowhere. Just say the extraordinary measures.
did it at that time. Because of no, even when you are talking about extraordinary measures,
yes,
it is defined. What he can do is defined.
Yes, okay.
He's not permitted to suspend.
Yes.
Democratic structure. Yes. Because the way he was elected was the way others were elected. He has no power to suspend them. That somebody did it and got away with it. Maybe somebody was using 6 persons to impeach a sitting governor. Does it mean that Buhari will now today get up and use 6 individuals to impeach a governor, as it was done in Plateau and done in Anambra? No, so this is the thing. Now, the truth is we are facing all kinds of problems related to security. We have to dig in and find solutions to those problems within the ambit of our law. I'm happy that the Chief of Defense Staff is consulting with retired, but all they can do is offer support, offer suggestions. For example, where you have people who have excelled. If I were the Chief of Army Staff, for example, I will call a meeting of former theater commanders of Operation Lafia Dole. And I know that those of them who excel, there are still some that excel tremendously. We'll put them in a room. Gentlemen, how do we solve this problem? Because the problem remains. I was looking at some videos and photographs of ISWAP in the Lake Chad Basin conducting trial. They are trying people in the Sharia way. It just came out. ISWAP allowing farming to take place and taking what's it called, taxes from people. I mean, it's there in our country. That means those guys have constituted themselves into another government.
Yes,
and they have to be dealt with decisively.
Okay, let me quickly take this call. Mike is calling us from Cardiff. Wales in Cardiff.
Hello, TY.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, Jiggy Okumbeda and Emeka, I greet you guys. The problem is that nothing will happen. This attack on Defense Academy, nothing will happen. But let me take you back. Do you remember the burglary attack and the lies that they had in Aso Rock, whereby it has to do with the
Chief of Staff
at Aso Rock? Do you notice that since then, nothing has been done? Nobody was arrested, nobody was sacked, heads did not roll. Even this one that happened at the Defense Academy, before you know that something will happen, heads should have been rolling. But nothing will still happen. That is just it. It's so painful we found ourselves here. As they say it on the street, we wasn't had one chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. And Emeka, now they are saying that when we have this situation and they expect the military, if you look at the press statement of Mr. President yesterday, now is the time that, well, if this thing is coming directly at us, now is the time to now show our fans. Now is the time to now show that, look, we are really up to the task. The battle has been taken to us.
If you look at the president's statements, you know, in the last few months, it has been the same tone. Now is the time. We will not disappoint Nigerians. We will overcome security challenges. We will defeat criminals. We will defeat criminality. Can you give us a timeline? All these things are just being said into the open air. There are no timelines. There must be a timeline. Okay, we will put an end to insecurity in so and so area within such and such a period. Of course, if you recall, Jonathan, when we were to have the 2015 elections, you know, he saw that Boko Haram was going to be a major impediment. What did he do? INEC, you know, was asked to postpone the election by 6 weeks. INEC postponed the election by 6 weeks. And within that 6 weeks, Jonathan applied, he applied decisive measures and cleared many areas of Boko Haram. So I believe, give us a timeline. If it's going to be 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 6 months, let it be definite. We are tired of these open-ended statements. And then again, statements coming out of the presidency, you know, at times are at variance with what we hear from security agencies. So, I mean, for instance, the Garbachev telling us that this thing was meant to embarrass the president, and the chief of defense staff saying that we will not allow this kind of a thing. It's enough is not. Who do we listen to? I think we need to hear more from the security agencies from the military security agencies. What are they doing? Are they having a problem for manpower? And then fine, you can recruit. You can recruit more Nigerians. You know, but the point is this: I don't think we have got to the point where the Nigerian armed forces cannot secure Nigeria. That, for instance, we will need to ask for foreign help to ensure internal security. I don't think we have got to that.
I have Wale from Ikorodu.
Yeah, good evening, AYO.
Good evening, Olawale.
Oma Tata, the encyclopedia, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
And Chief Madunagu.
Good evening.
Yes, John 8:32 says, "Thou shalt know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Let me tell you this blunt truth today. Why we are still having this problem in Nigeria is 1, ethnicity, 2, religion, and 3, body language of the president. Do you know that over 500 Boko Haram guys arrested? They are feeding them the taxpayers' money. They are in prison. They have not tried them. So where is the deterrence? We just have to be serious. Do we wait until they go and attack the Aso Rock? These people do their due diligence. They do surveillance. They do everything before they attack. If they can go and attack #1 training institution for the Army, for the Navy, for the Air Force, we are in trouble. God bless you.
Thank you, Wale. Julie, now, part of what Wale said, just remind me of the fact that, yes, the Attorney General some weeks back, you know, said 400 Nigerians were going to be tried. And we saw what happened in Dubai, the first leg. They prosecuted and they've convicted 2 for us. So we felt that this leg, since they've done the better job, they would have handed over some information, documents and everything that would link some people to sponsors of terrorism. That, look, since 2009 that we've been having insurgent activities, we've been seeing the foot soldiers, we've been apprehending the foot soldiers, we've not been able to cut the source of funding, and we've not been able to apprehend those behind funding of terrorism.
Yeah, and even funding of kidnappers, because the boys that they parade, those ones are just mere errand boys. They are just foot soldiers.
People asking for 700 million naira.
Those boys, you look at even their lives. They look like people who are wretched already. Just looking at them, they are not the ones. They don't have access to that money. They merely use them to carry out these attacks. People who collect up to 100 million
you can collect
one
100
operation
and still be looking
as ugly as an hyena. Hyena is probably the most ugly animal on the planet. You know, so we have not done well enough to apprehend the sponsors of this violence on our country, whether they are bandits or Boko Haram insurgents. They have patrons. They have people who bankroll their efforts. Where are they? And where a government announces that it has arrested, what Nigerians want to see is let the wheel of justice begin to grind. So when they see that,
go ahead with the prosecution.
Look, while we are wasting time here, Chadians arrested Boko Haram fighters. They convicted them, and they were killed by firing squad.
Executed, about 22 of them also.
They were firing squad. They have no patience. They have no time for smell like us. They took their lives. They don't deserve to live. People who kill other people without looking back, they've lost the right to live, just like the governor of Katsina said. And now they've gone after and made the state literally ungovernable now. So, but it doesn't matter. That is the truth. And I stand by El-Rufai on this matter, that bandits have lost the right to live. If you can push people to go and sell all their houses, everything that they labored for in their lives, you cause them to sell just to have their children back, then you have lost the right to live. And we have laws. But do we apply our laws sufficiently? The answer is no. It is in our country that people will know that, look, this is the implication of doing this and doing that. But they will still go ahead and do it because they feel that, look, the long arm of the law will not catch up with them. We have to begin to do things the right way. Enemies of our country, we need to deal decisively with them. Look at the nonsense going on in Jos. People are killing each other like ram. And we can't bring people to justice.
We'll still come and talk about that.
So what's going on? Everywhere, Nigerians are being killed, and we are not punishing people. People can't see those being jailed or being sentenced to death or being executed. It must get to a point that even publicly we execute people the way the Saudi people do.
Okay, I have Benga from Abuja.
Yes, Ayo, good evening.
Good evening, Benga.
Jide, good evening, and the other guests.
I agree to sir.
Good evening.
Yes, the statement of the Zamfara state governor, I don't think he meant a total emergency whereby all the institutions of democracy be suspended. I'm thinking that he's talking about call for state of emergency on security, where all priority resources, everything be put on security in the Northwest. Then my question is that, does he need to say that when it happened in the Southwest, the governor of Southwest did not wait for anybody. They put up a Amotekun. Even it took them some time. Now we have stemmed down this criminality in the Southwest. These are criminals. Forget about the tribe, anything attached to it. They have a range of forests where they're inhabiting. Why can't the northern governor, through the something, announce ultimatum, so day, leave every forest, just like the Taraba Emma in Taraba did. Anybody that remain in the forest for that period, let the Air Force level it, no matter the casualty. I mean, they have the number. Why can't they employ people to occupy that forest as rangers and turn it to a farm village to create jobs for people? What is the Kano governor doing and the Kud governor doing that's extraordinary that they cannot do? Look at Kogi, all the states around it have security issues. The Kogi is safe in the north, most of the states in the north part of Nigeria. Look at Kano, with all the happening there, we have not had a major incident in Kano.
Thank you, Benga. Thank you for your contribution. So ultimately, what we are looking at here is we know that this call from Zamfara State government might not be practicable right now.
Yeah.
And what do you think the president should do?
The president should remember that there was a time we had the problem of Katsina. What was done? How were they dealt with? There was a time, I was a young reporter then, some guys constituted themselves to a kind of a terror group somewhere in Lagos, somewhere towards Alagbado or so. And I remember that day, the security agencies went into that place and flushed them out. It didn't take a state of emergency. So the governor asking for a state of emergency is far-fetched. The basic issue is this. You must, these are not even thick forests. This is savanna forest. This is savanna grassland. So, like I keep saying, there must be a timeline. Rolling the armed forces, rolling the armed forces heavily into those areas and take clear those people. Doesn't matter whether they're 100,000 or 20,000, decimate them. You may not get all of them, but the fact of the matter is that if you run rings around them consistently, in the air, on the ground, of course, you will be able to, you will disorganize them. These people move around on motorcycles, so it's so easy. It's so easy. They are not. They don't have aircraft of their own. You know, they don't have ships or things like, or helicopters. Fine. So it's so easy to target them and deal with them. And then again, take note of the fact that if people can be collecting taxes from Nigerians, can be putting Nigerians on trial, that's an alternative government. So you declare war on them.
If Matarali cannot call for a state of emergency, if it's not in tandem with the 1999 Constitution, what can President Buhari do?
You see, still talking about the state of emergency. The kind of state of emergency that the law permits will not solve this problem.
Absolutely.
Because we tried that one. We tried that one in Borno State, in Adamawa State, and Yobe. It didn't solve the problem, because what does that one prescribe? Simply that, look, if the army apprehends you, they are free to lock you up for 90 days. You cannot summon habeas corpus. You cannot go to court within that period and ask for bail. They don't. The law would not even permit that. So will that solve the problem that we are talking about? It can't solve the problem. It is an extensive military campaign blocking all the entry points. These boys stay in border posts, linking all of those three major states together. So they can move around freely. They don't stay in one place. So it's a military campaign that will block their exit point, and shelling that could last even a whole month that can solve this problem. I suggested this before, but it appears that they think that it is just by cherry-picking places to bomb and that they will solve the problem. Let's know that we're at war. 3 months. We will clear all these people.
Okay, we'll quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk about Katsina State and Plateau State. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. So your favorite news and current affairs program on TV, TVC News. I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju still in the house and Emeka Madunago. Katsina, despite being the home state of President Muhammadu Buhari, has witnessed sporadic attacks by bandits and kidnappers recently. In a most callous manner, bandits stormed the house of the late district head and abducted some members of his family, including his widow, barely 24 hours after his death. Meanwhile, more than 20 corpses were dumped at the main gate of the Plateau State government's house by angry youths following attacks in Jos North local government area of the state. Let's start from Katsina State. Jide, what's the story about the widow being attacked at 24 hours, barely 24 hours after the demise of her husband?
Yes, the husband was the district head. Remember Kusada, the hometown of the middle past speaker of the Katsina State House of Assembly, who was the youngest speaker of his generation. And the man died, and you couldn't even give them a breather. The man died within 24 hours, you went to kidnap the widow. It just shows that these bandits are not human beings.
Yeah.
They are not human beings. They have no loyalty to any religion. Don't preach Islam to them because they don't believe in any religion. Don't preach Christianity to them. A lot of them are animists. They are unbelievers. Because the question to ask yourself is, how can an individual...
Some of them believe that they are Muslims, but
yes,
they are not Muslims.
They are not Muslims. No, don't
Muslims
even preach it to them.
These are not Muslims.
Don't preach it to them. How can an individual realize that somebody had just lost a husband? Then you go and kidnap that widow at a time when she was mourning. You know? So this is what happened. We have a situation in which at least 12 local governments are being harassed by bandits in Katsina. The governor said 10 of those local governments, the attacks are literally daily. But the local governments that come under attack, there are about 12 of them. So the people on their own now, they are trying to see how they can even defend themselves against these attacks. Basari, Safana, you know, all of these local government, just attacks. And the same people, they will attack you and then move into Zamfara because they share border. They will attack you, move into Kaduna, especially the Brunei area, because they share border.
From Zamfara to Kaduna.
Sabwa shares border with Kaduna State. And it's one of the local governments that are constantly under attack. So that's why I said, look, the best solution is still, in my view, the military campaign. I don't believe that we cannot defeat these guys.
No.
We have made, the governor of Katsina State has made efforts more than his mates to solve this problem. He tried the peaceful means. He committed money to the efforts of the military. Yet we don't have the breeder. They just came back from Libya now, where more than 1,000 people have been displaced by bandits. Bandits are now taking over communities where our people used to live. In Katsina, in Zamfara, people are now forced to go and live in Niger Republic. That is the extent to which they are provoking us as a people. And we have to respond to this provocation by dealing decisively with them.
How come Katsina is not even being given a kind of priority, being that Mr. President's hometown? And when you look at the number of bandits, the operation of bandits around, at the point in time, the governor was even helpless. The governor had to tell people that look for a way to defend yourself.
He was shedding tears now when the Kankara boys were kidnapped. You see, for criminals, it's even an incentive that's the state where the president comes from. So instead of being a deterrent, for criminals, it's actually more of an incentive. Then in terms of this lady that was kidnapped, I believe the attraction was the fact that, the speaker, the former speaker, so maybe as this man died, money will come in. So if you grab the woman, then you make money. You see, when you look at the way these people reason, it defies logic. But the thing is this, you can, just like Jay said, you cannot try to rationalize things with these people. So the best thing is use heavy-handed tactics on them. And then again, the Minister of Police Affairs, I really strongly disagree with him by saying that the Nigerians should not arm themselves. What are you talking about? People ordinarily have machetes in their homes.
And it's the same person who said they should defend themselves.
People have bows and arrows in their homes, even stones. These are weapons, and you're telling people not to defend themselves. Well, are you now saying that communities, for instance, that have formed vigilante groups and successfully repelled criminal elements should just sit by and wait for the police? How many policemen do you even have out there on the street? The vehicle, they have constraints of vehicles. They have constraints, logistics, and a lot of these things. Now this is the area we're talking of community policing. The minister ought to find solution. The way you bring the people in, because that's very key. While you are talking about the security agencies, you need to talk about the people. What role will the people play to repel these people? So what it means is that if you are saying the people should not arm themselves, then the security agency should get these people, train them as vigilante groups, so that form them into vigilante groups like Masari has done in Katsina State, and then they will also help to gather intelligence. You will see that these bandits will flee.
Ibrahim is calling us from Kaduna State.
Hello.
Yes, Ibrahim, good evening. Hope you are safe.
We are safe, and we continue to be safe. So,
Amen.
Well, thank you for using it. It's quite interesting. At least, we are from Kaduna State. I have been trying the line, but it wasn't connected. But thank God. You see, the security challenges we are facing, despite all the hurdles, one day God will see us through. You see, this thing that happened in India yesterday, in fact, it's unfortunate, and it did a slap on our security personnel, and indeed Nigerians. Why did I say so? You see, we have been saying this thing. Banditry, all their mission is to destroy. They need to be prescribed. I just need to say this with wholeheartedly. The state of emergency that they have been talking, once okay, like the way Babajide have said, it's true, it will not work unless they allow the military to operate free hand. If not, the step they are taking now is that they are just trying to tell us that whatever you have, we are more than your security agents. How many are there for us? We know. Look, what's the effect of registered things that we have registered last all this while? From their network. Through that, they can fit these people out. Secondly, again, you can see you are moving the street now. You don't know the next. You don't know what will happen to you. What is this? The security challenging will be everybody's business now. Let Nigeria give us all the power and all the strength. Let everybody have his own, but not by having their own weapons. I'm not subscribed to that.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, the second half of it is this Plateau State, and it's like it's a state that descended into lawlessness and anarchy, and I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's uncontrollable. In spite of the curfew, 24 hours curfew in the northern part of, people still find a way to still come and kill people. And out of frustration, these youths, I saw it on video yesterday, just had to carry the dead bodies to,
Yes,
on anger to the government house.
Yes, because they want action from the governor. They want results. They want a solution. You can imagine losing a loved one who committed no crime.
No crime.
Because these wicked people will simply go in their desire to avenge the deaths of their own people, go and kill someone who was not involved in your quarrel. You just go and kill innocent people. We've lost even UniJOS students have been lost to this conflict.
No, parents are even pulling out their children.
Yes. So the thing is, for them, they have not seen the quality efforts on the part of the governor of Plateau State. They have not seen quality efforts. Going to the president to tell him that, look, you are on top of the situation, peace is gradually returning, only for people to come to kill 36 persons the day after you visited the president to boast about peace that was not there. That is the thing. So the people want to see results. If you are a governor and you are promising the people that, look, I'm in position to protect you. You elected me to protect you. And if you cannot protect those people, then their blood will boil, and they will come to you and say, see, what is going on? How can you be here and they are killing us in this manner? That is, it had reached the ticking point for those youths. That was why they went to that extent.
Out of frustration.
And it happened at the time when curfew was supposed to be in place. What kind of curfew?
Those youths, they are boiling.
What kind of curfew do we have in Plateau that people get killed even during curfew? People form roadblocks looking for their enemies to kill, and we say there is curfew. What kind of curfew is that? Is the military simply overwhelmed? The armed forces overwhelmed that they cannot enforce the curfew? It's not even in Kaduna State. We've had situations. People killed in Zongo Katab, and we will hear that curfew has been imposed. And during that period, more people get killed. It's difficult to explain. Come from all kinds of places. Come in the night. You know that these areas will come under attack. You must find a way to protect the people. How can we have a situation in which the 3 division of the Nigerian Army is in that located in that Basa local government, and they'll be killing themselves for weeks? You can't stop it.
Because the case in Plateau State is quite different from what the insecurity we have in the north. These are not bandits at all. These are, conflict between religion and ethnic groups.
Yeah, you see, I watched a special report. I don't remember the station that did it yesterday evening, and honestly speaking, I came away with certain impressions. Those youths were so angry that if guns get into the hands of those youths, what the level they can get to, it can just be imagined, So with
for how long would they continue to take law into their hands?
With that anger, and these are youths. They're angry that they keep saying that, okay, people are arrested, they are not brought to book. You take people, you know, when these things arise, sometimes they even say, they alert security agencies that we understand though that there's going to be an attack from so and so and so, and the security agencies will not respond. So that's the question I'm asking. The security agents should tell Nigerians what are their impediments, what is preventing them from putting an end to all of this. And then again, the peace building efforts. When these things happened, there were certain individuals that were making some very inciting comments, talking about reprisals and all that. Okay, fine, the reprisals are taking place. Now go and carry the dead bodies and keep in your house as monuments, as mementos. Why there are people? You see, we should also end this culture of irresponsibility. You see, trading with the lives of innocent people as if they are just as if they are canon for them.
We are just biased people.
When there is
of human
when you
life
have
like
crisis,
that,
what do? Whether at the state, federal level, whether at the state level, local government level, you have to come together. Politicians should set aside their differences and come together. Abusing yourselves, abusing yourselves in statements and on social media will not.
It will only incite people.
It will only incite people. Come together.
That's why we have this surprise.
The solution to all this lies in the hands of the leaders
of each of these groups. Okay.
State.
All right. Finally on the show now.
Okay. I think one of our friends corrected me that the village head of Kofa, which is located in Kusada, in Katsina State, was the person whose wife was kidnapped, not village head of Kusada. Kofa is located within Kusada, and is the home village of Kabir Kofa, former speaker of the state during the time of Yaradua.
Okay.
So that's the correction that they wanted us to.
Katsina State. All right. And finally, the Nigerian Air Force, NAF, is set to induct the newly acquired 6 A-29 Super Tucano aircraft on Tuesday, 31st of August in Abuja. NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gabwet, said in a statement that President Muhammadu Buhari will preside over the induction ceremony. To commemorate the induction ceremony, a symbolic fly past will be performed by some of the newly acquired A-29 Super Tucano aircraft. Enlightening us, I asked you earlier today that how come Super Tucanos have not started raining hell on these bandits? So you told me about this induction, that it's a must, that this induction must take place before the action starts.
Yes, for a long time, we've not been able to put this kind of weapon. We've not been able to lay our hands on this kind of weapon for years. Successive regimes did not do their best to arm the military. The arrival of the Super Tucanos is a major lift for us as a nation and for our armed forces. So it's a thing of joy. But there is usually the symbolic induction ceremony, after which they will now be thrown into the thick of action. So, and that is, I think, the Air Force secured a date for the president, from the president, and the president will make himself available on that day. And those 6 Tucano jets will be officially inducted. Nigerians will see the fly past, which will give them a hint of the capability of these fantastic birds. So we can't wait for that ceremony to happen, after which you will now see the Tucanos in action. It is possible to minimally put them in action before an induction ceremony. That is possible, but that is up to the Chief of Air Staff to decide. Now, once the induction ceremony happens, we know that they are fully ready, to rain bombs on these good-for-nothing people. So we are waiting, and we simply can't wait, because we know the capabilities that these fighter bombers have, and what this could mean for our war against the bandits and Boko Haram insurgents, because the precision, the biggest asset of this A29 Super Tucano is the precision with which it delivers its munitions. The precision is just the game changer. It will deliver with accuracy.
And don't forget, Judy, it doesn't have to fly low that AA can easily attack it.
No, because you know some of the aircraft usually fly low, so that they can be sure that their weapons are delivered to the right place. But if your munitions, if your weapon system guarantees accuracy of delivery, then you don't have to endanger your life as a pilot to get so close to the target zone before dropping your bombs. So that is one capability that this aircraft has, and it is also capable. This is an Alpha jet, and it's also capable of doing reconnaissance work, which means that it is fitted with that capability to spy on the opponent, and it can land on hard surface because it's light, so it can land on hard surface, and it has tremendous fuel economy. So there are many weapons that this Tucano has, which makes us feel confident that it will be a game changer for us in this war. You know,
we've invested. Now this is the first 6. Yes, we're happy. And they are saying before the end of the year, another 6 will come. By the time we have 12 on grounds, I'm sure those bandits, they will just look for another job.
Yeah, but we need to make sure that we reduce the possibility of incidents. You know, having incidents whereby we lose any of the aircraft, because we need them so much at this time. At least now we have 21st century. We have 21st century aircraft that can deal with 21st century problems, not retrofitted aircraft, decommissioned retrofitted aircraft that cannot meet the current security challenges. You know, you are dealing with people who are not based in a particular location. You know, they move from place to place. These people move on motorcycles and all of that. You know, they move with contracts and all that. So yes, so you need that precision, 21st century precision. Now, of course, I want to say congratulations to the Nigerian Air Force, but I hope they will deploy these aircraft, they will deploy these jets to maximum efficiency, delivery, so that this banditry, or whatever it is, these security challenges, will be brought to the minimum before the dry season. Because by the dry season, we'll be battling with haze, with Harmattan haze and all of these things, and all those associated problems. So we must deal with them as quickly as possible, so that, you know, we can have a safer country. And then we must also deal with the issue. We must tighten the issue of maintenance, because that's a major problem with Nigeria. Maintenance. We are not very good at maintaining the things we acquire. So I hope they have a good maintenance agreement with the producers, with the suppliers, so that, because Colombia used this same aircraft, you know, to maximum advantage in dealing with the FARC rebels, you know. So we have good example, you know, to copy from. We have good examples to copy from. So we have no excuse to say, that because it's a new technology, we are limited. Let's deploy brilliant pilots who will use this aircraft and use them to maximum advantage.
Jude, hopefully, if we get to the induction, we'll have more information about the workings of this fantastic aircraft.
Yes, and I hope to be physically present at the induction ceremony. We have to also give credit to the Air Force. They demanded for this. They pursued it vigorously, right from the former Chief of Air Staff. I think that it was a fantastic decision, a well-informed one, looking at how the Super Tucano had performed in Afghanistan, in Mali, and some of the areas where it's been deployed. So we took a decision and got for ourselves a jet that is literally purpose-built for our environment. And we look forward to successes being recorded by even this first set of Super Tucanos. Once we soften up the enemy positions, that is when the #1 killing machine of the Nigerian Air Force, that is the Mi-35P, can now come and do what is called close combat operations. You know, some will even call it something like you are relating like a friendly relationship with the target area. There's a particular way by which it is described, a kind of suggesting a kind of harmonious relationship, but it's not harmonious. Yes, but you are so close. You are so close to the yes. So you are so close. You are working with the ground troops and dealing decisively with the enemy. So it's a good thing that we have it. We have the Super Tucanos. People have been asking, when are we going to start using them? And it's a good thing.
Do you have, can it be detected through radar?
There's no aircraft that can be detected.
What do they call them?
Except the stealth bombers. Yes. Except the stealth, some of them are meant to evade. Okay. But not this. This is not a radar evading aircraft. Okay. It is not a stealth aircraft. The Americans, they have plenty of those stealth bombers in their armory. They will have softened up your air defense system by first deploying those stealth bombers. That was what America used when they chased this president away in December 1993. Noriega. Yeah. They first entered this country with stealth bombers. So the stealth bombers destroyed the air defense mechanism of the country before the big and heavy hitting bombers now came in to deal the decisive blow. And Noriega had to go and run into the papacy, run in Rome. He went to hide there. But eventually the Americans brought him out, put him on trial, sentenced him, and as soon as he came out of jail, the French also arrested him. Manuel Noriega, president of Panama. Yes.
Thank you for your contribution. And BKO, thank you for your contribution.
Thanks.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Don't forget to join us on Sunday. That's Journalist Hangout on Sunday between 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you on Sunday, and God bless Nigeria.